Good day, everyone. Welcome to this lesson on project-based learning, commonly known as PBL, one of the most engaging and widely discussed teaching strategies in professional education today. Let me start with a quick thought. When you think about the most meaningful things you ever learned in school, were they from a lecture you sat through, or were they from a project, an activity, a challenge that you had to actually work on and create something from? For most people, the answer is the project, and that is the essence of project-based learning. In this lesson, we will cover what PBL is, the four-step PBL process, key features, a detailed classroom example, the benefits, teaching implications, and the LET exam keywords. Let's get started. Let's begin with the definition. Project-based learning is a teaching approach where students spend an extended period, days, weeks, or even longer, working on a project that is centered on a real-world problem or challenge. Now, this is different from just doing a class project as a homework assignment. In PBL, the project is the curriculum. The project is not something you do after you've learned the content. The project is how you learn the content. Three things define PBL. First, it's student-centered and extended. This is not a one-lesson activity. Students work deeply over time, going through multiple stages of investigation, creation, and presentation. Second, students apply knowledge rather than just receiving it. They use what they are learning, from multiple subjects if needed, to actually solve or address a real problem. They are not memorizing facts, they are doing something with those facts. Third, PBL produces outcomes. At the end of a PBL unit, there is something to show: a product, a presentation, a campaign, a proposal, a prototype. This output is called an authentic product or authentic outcome. Remember, PBL equals real problem plus extended work plus authentic product. Let's walk through the four stages of the PBL process. Stage 1. Identify a problem. The project always begins with a meaningful, real-world challenge, not a textbook exercise, a real problem that students can care about. Something like, how can we reduce waste in our school? Or, how can we help our community prepare for floods? Or, how can we improve reading rates among younger students in our school? The problem defines the entire project and gives students a purpose. Stage 2. Investigate. Students research, explore, and gather information to understand the problem deeply. They may read articles, watch documentaries, conduct surveys, interview experts or community members, and analyze data. This is similar to inquiry-based learning, but in PBL, the investigation serves a larger purpose: building the knowledge and evidence needed to create a solution. Stage 3. Create. This is what makes PBL unique. Students don't just report what they found. They build something. They design a solution, create a product, develop a campaign, build a model, or write a proposal. This is the heart of PBL, the creation of an authentic product that addresses the real-world problem. Stage 4. Present. Students share their work with an authentic audience, not just the teacher, but real stakeholders. This could be the school principal, parents, community members, or even government officials. Presenting to a real audience raises the stakes and makes the learning meaningful. Students also reflect on what they learned throughout the project. Remember the four stages: identify a problem, arrow; investigate, arrow; create, arrow; present. Now let's look at the three key features of PBL. Feature 1. Real-world challenges. PBL is always rooted in reality. The problems students work on are not artificial or made-up textbook problems. They are real challenges that exist in the community, the school, or the wider world. This real-world connection is what makes PBL so powerful. Students aren't just learning for the exam. They are learning to actually do something that matters. Feature 2. Integrated learning. One of the most beautiful aspects of PBL is that it naturally combines multiple subject areas. A project on designing a school recycling program might involve science, understanding environmental impact, mathematics, analyzing waste data, English, writing proposals and creating posters, and social studies, understanding community needs and civic responsibility. PBL breaks down the walls between subjects and shows students that real-world problems require integrated knowledge. Feature 3, Authentic Products. This is what distinguishes PBL from inquiry-based learning. In inquiry, the focus is on the discovery process. In PBL, the focus is on the product, something concrete, useful and real that students create and share. This could be a recycling proposal, a community awareness campaign, a model of a solution, a documentary video, a community garden design, anything that represents genuine work applied to a genuine problem. LET tip. The keywords that signal PBL are authentic product, real-world problem, extended project, collaboration, and presentation to authentic audience. Let me walk you through a full classroom example of PBL in action. The class is given this challenge: design a recycling program to reduce waste in our school. This is a real problem. Schools genuinely produce a lot of waste, and most don't have systematic recycling programs. The students are working on something that matters, not a pretend scenario. Stage 1. Identify the problem. Students start by investigating what the actual problem looks like in their school. They count the rubbish bins, weigh the waste produced each day, categorize what types of waste are most common: plastic, paper, food scraps. They talk to the custodians. They build a picture of the problem they are trying to solve. Stage 2. Investigate. Teams research how recycling programs work. They look at successful case studies from other schools. They read about environmental impact. They interview the school principal and ask what support is available. They survey fellow students about their waste habits. They gather real data and evidence. Stage 3. Create. Now students design the actual recycling program. They determine which bins are needed and where they should be placed. They create educational posters. They plan awareness campaigns, assemblies, social media posts. They write a formal proposal document that outlines the program, the budget needed, and the expected environmental benefits. Stage 4. Present. Teams present their proposal to the principal, teachers, and school community. They use the data they gathered to defend their proposal. The principal might actually adopt the program, which makes the learning real. Notice the authentic product at the end: a fully designed, evidence-based recycling proposal. That is PBL. Let's now talk about the benefits of PBL and what it means for teaching practice. Benefit 1: problem solving and creativity. Because PBL centers on real challenges with no single correct answer, students must think creatively and strategically. They can't just look up the answer in a textbook. They have to design, iterate, test ideas, and innovate. These are exactly the skills demanded in the modern workplace and in life. Benefit 2: collaboration and communication. PBL almost always involves group work, and not just sitting next to each other, but genuinely working together over an extended period. Students learn to divide tasks, manage conflict, support each other, and communicate clearly. They also develop presentation and public speaking skills when they present to authentic audiences. Benefit 3: real-life relevance. One of the most powerful moments in a PBL unit is when students realize, this is real. This matters. When a student's recycling proposal is actually adopted by their school, or when their community awareness campaign is published, or when they present findings to real decision makers, the learning becomes permanently meaningful. For teaching implications, the most important thing is to start with an authentic question, one that connects to the real world. Make sure students have time to research properly, give them ownership, let them make decisions about their project. And when you assess, don't just grade the final product. Assess the process too, the research, the collaboration, the problem-solving along the way. Let's prepare for the LET exam on project-based learning. Keyword 1, student-centered learning. In PBL, the students are in the driver's seat. They make decisions about their project, direct their own investigation, and take ownership of the outcome. The teacher is a coach and facilitator, not the center of the lesson. Keyword 2, real-world problems and authentic tasks. If a LET question describes students working on a genuine problem, designing a solution for the school, addressing a community issue, creating something for a real audience, think PBL. The word authentic is a major signal. Keyword 3, collaboration and teamwork. PBL almost always involves group work over an extended period. If a question describes students working in teams on a project that spans multiple lessons or weeks, think PBL keyword 4, project creation and presentation. PBL always ends with a product and a presentation. Students don't just report findings. They create something and present it to a real audience. If you see a description of students presenting to the principal, parents, or community, that is the presentation phase of PBL. Keyword 5, integration of knowledge across subjects. PBL by nature draws on multiple subject areas. If a question describes a project that involves both science and English or mathematics and social studies, that integration is a hallmark of PBL. Critical distinction, PBL versus inquiry-based learning. Both involve investigation, but PBL always produces a concrete product and involves a presentation to an authentic audience. Inquiry-based learning focuses on the discovery process. If there is a product at the end, it's PBL. And that is our key takeaway for today. Project-based learning helps students learn deeply by solving authentic problems, creating meaningful products, and connecting classroom knowledge to the real world. Think about the 3 pillars we highlighted: real problem, authentic product, real audience. These 3 elements are what transform a regular class activity into true project-based learning. Any teacher can assign a group activity, but a PBL teacher designs an experience where students tackle something real, create something that matters, and share it with people who actually care about the outcome. For your LET exam, remember the keywords: student-centered, real-world problem, authentic product, collaboration, extended project, presentation to real audience, and integration of subjects. And the key distinction from inquiry-based learning: PBL ends with a product and a presentation to an authentic audience. You have now covered 7 teaching strategies in this series. You are building an incredible foundation for the LET exam. Keep going. Padayon. You've got this.